Welcome back. I'm Richard, and today we're going to spend the next 20 minutes on a story that's right here in our home in Palacios, Texas. It's about ambition, a promise of prosperity, and the fragile boundary between public purpose and private gain. It's about a plan called Destination Palacios. Make a notation of that if you don't know or have never heard that phrase coined, then we will explain it further in this podcast. Destination Palacios, a tax increment reinvestment zone, a TIRZ, TIRZ for short, and a long-running economic development agreement with a developer and a web of affiliated companies. If you care about how your city spends your money, who benefits, and whether the law is being followed, this episode is absolutely free. Hey guys, thank you for subscribing, sharing, and as always, we are honored to have you here at this moment, right here, right now in the Wolf Digital Tribe. Stay tuned for another revealing episode as we touch on the TIRZ and how much. Wow, what a segment this will be. So stay tuned, guys. So let's talk about what is a TIRZ. The simple explanation, and honestly, I had no clue what a TIRZ was until researching and upon this investigation, and for absolute public concern and out of public concern. Let's start by grounding ourselves, and we must stay grounded in the facts and what makes something what it is, how it's developed, how it's built, where it stemmed from, what policy, what city charter, what does it have to do with the Texas Open Meetings Act and other laws that govern this and should create a process. A TIRZ might sound like a dense piece of government jargon, but the concept is actually simple. It's seductive and very important to your pocketbook. So think of it like this. Imagine a struggling piece of land here in Palacios. It's assessed at a base value of, say, and generates, say, $1,000 in property tax revenue for the city. Now, the city decides to designate it a TIRZ. This sets the base value in stone. So the city, along with a private developer, invest in the land, adding new roads, utilities, and a new golf course. Over time, the investment pays off. The land is now worth much more and generates $6,000 in tax revenue. The increment is the difference, folks. $5,000 of new revenue. In a TIRZ, this new $5,000 doesn't go into the city's general fund for police or parks or the many other things we need. Infrastructure, number one. The city captures and reinvest that entire increment directly back into infrastructure inside the zone itself. The idea is simple and very seductive, but for the TIRZ, development wouldn't happen. The city is using future growth to fund current improvements. And folks, let me tell you this, future growth, if you look at this developer's plats and what this developer is building and what this whole TIRZ was meant for, and it was, we'll get into that. So investment promising a cycle of rising property value and long-term prosperity. It sounds so good, right? Just like a pyramid scheme. In Palacios, the pitch is bold. Anchor the zone with a world-class golf course. Improve the municipal airport. We've heard that before. Recruit a hotel. Catalyze new housing and transform the city into a destination. The promise is higher higher property values, sustainable growth, tourism, jobs, and community pride, delivered with the refrain new tax zone. The money, the term, and the clubhouse. Think about that. On paper, the preliminary financing plan projects roughly 11.6 million in TIRZ revenue over 30 years. The proposal allegations look like this: 40% to open space, parks, and recreation, 15%. So on paper, the preliminary financing plan projects roughly 11.6 million in TIRZ revenue over 30 years. The proposal, guys, the proposal in TIRZ revenue over 30 years. Think about that. The proposal allocations look like this, and it's right here. It's kind of small to see, but I'm going to post this. Uh, so here we're outlining things, okay? So it looks like this: 40% to open space parks and recreation, 15% to economic development grants, 10% to a golf clubhouse and a park and parking, 10% to stormwater improvements, and the rest to essential infrastructure like streets, water, and sewer. And let me tell you this entire TIRZ was created for the very lowest, in which, let's see, 10%. 10%. This entire TIRZ program, this was the reason it was formed, the reason it was the reason the grant is available is for that. Instead, it's built, we're using our tax-paying dollars for a developer. And let me show you this too. This will blow your mind, blew my mind. It's not just this developer is not just the TIRZ, it's everything. I mean, he's the gatekeeper, or excuse me, the developer's the gatekeeper, right? So if you can see this, yeah. So this is everything, guys. PUD. This is everything. I want you to look at this. This is where your tax dollars are going to one developer. One developer, guys. Let me see. Can you see? Yeah. One developer. Look. See that? And what's the developer's name? What's that? Does that sound familiar? Yeah, right. You know, it's just crazy. Water improvements could have been used for this. And some of that makes intuitive sense, but other categories raise necessary questions. A golf clubhouse, is that truly a public facility? Will it be owned by the city? Will there be enforceable public access, or is it primarily a private amenity supported by public money? And I would go with the latter, the last thing I said. I believe that's what it is, guys. Oh man, you know, running alongside the TIRZ is a chapter 380 and 381 Economic Development Agreement with Sal Holdings LLC. It shows an effective date of February 2022. Make a note of that. And an expiration date, wait for it, of December 2078. A 56-year term. Most 380 agreements in Texas run a decade or two. 56 years is extraordinary. It binds future councils and taxpayers to commitments deep into the lives of people who haven't even moved here yet. Think about that. The core conflict of interest is what I want to talk about is who is at the center of the proposed development. The materials show a network of entities under the control of one person with roles across the developer, the contractor, the engineer, and multiple holding and special purpose companies. And here is the crucial fact that amplifies the risk. We've learned that a key person who serves as the president of Palacios Economic Development Corporation, the EDC, the public agency charged with promoting the city's economic growth, also works directly for the private developer. And is bold and proud about it. Think about it. Let's think about this. The public official whose job it is to negotiate the best possible deal for the city simultaneously is an employee of the private entity whose goal is to maximize their own profit. When public money, our tax dollars, whether through a TIRZ or a 380 agreement, flows through, the risk multiply when it flows through. Self-dealing can occur if improvements are scoped, priced, and awarded within a circle of affiliated companies without the robust start that over. When public money, whether through a TIRZ or a 380 agreement, flows through the risk, when public money, whether through a TIRZ or a 380 agreement, flows through when public money, whether through a TIRZ or a 380 agreement, flows through, the risk multiply. Self-dealing can occur if improvements are scoped, priced, and awarded within a circle of affiliated companies without robust competition and oversight. Procurement laws with substantial interest and entities doing business with the city to disclose and abstain from voting. Local Government Code 176 requires vendors to file a conflict of interest questionnaire, Form CIQ, in which we will be requesting all of this, by the way. If they have business or family ties to local officials, these are not nice to haves. They are guardrails. Misapplication of funds. Texas Penal Code, Section 3902, misapplication of public trust means that if public money is used in a way the law or contract does not authorize, guess what? It can be a crime. These laws aren't technicalities. They are the spine of public trust. Let's pull these threads together into 6 red flags that the public, you and I, everyone should know and insist on resolving before a single dollar moves. The 56-year term, let's talk about that. Where are the performance benchmarks, folks? We need to be asking our city this. Reporting obligations and enforceable termination rights in the 380-381 agreement. I want to know about the clubhouse funding. Is the clubhouse a public facility under city ownership? If not, how does its spending meet the constitutional public purpose standard? Oh man, the EDC president, DC Dunham, I believe was or still is. How are engineering and construction contracts being awarded? Hello, ma'am. Please answer it. I've actually sent her an email and she has yet to respond. Where are the procurement records, ma'am? bid tabulations, and the Form CIQ, and disclosure affidavits for all parties, including the CDC president, who also works for the developer, who also is a consultant for Ed Shell. She landed that wonderful land grab deal. And it's glad to see our council people cozying up to these folks. Looks real good, guys. Thanks for having our backs, by the way. Do the base year values and revenue projections reconcile with the Matagorda County Appraisal District and the city's annual reports to the state comptroller? Governance and transparency is what we need most. Were conflicts disclosed, affidavits filed, and abstentions recorded as required by law? Same with the water meter situation. The real big situation. So we need to ask for proof. Accountability starts with records and verification. The city should produce the TIRZ creation ordinance, the project and financing plans, and the full executed 380-381 agreement, procurement files, and all conflict of interest disclosure from officials, vendors should be accessible to all of us. We shouldn't have to fill out these FOIA requests and go through the bureaucratic just mess. The message, no new taxes, doesn't mean no risk. A TIRZ redirects future tax growth, guys. It starves the general fund to feed the zone, for better or worse. If those dollars bleed into a private clubhouse without public ownership or access, into grants with no strings, or into contracts without competition, especially where the same person is working for both the EDC and the developer, the community loses twice, once on the dollars and again on the trust, which that seems to be happening over and over and over again. So here's what we can do here's what I can do as a fellow community member, and you can do as a resident listener and a taxpayer. Ask for the documents, read them, share them, attend meetings, ask straight questions. We're done with it. We're done with the lies. We're done with the deflection. We're done with the 3-minute get up there and speak, and yet new things emerge and evolve about the very thing in which you were voting for and discussing. Makes no sense. What are the performance benchmarks? I've asked this so much. It's like you never get the answer to this. I don't even think they know. And clawbacks for economic grants. That's a good question. Were conflicts disclosed by the EDC president and others? I'd like to see the answer, because I have, let's just say, were contracts competitively awarded? In this, if the answer comes back clear and lawful, which nothing ever does for me, but if you have better luck, then more power to you, and that's awesome. We need to celebrate that. My Lord will get out in the if you're able, if anyone else is able to get this with any clawbacks with full disclosure, full detailed information, I'll shave my head. Seriously, I'll shave my head. Or I tell you what, you get to pick. I'll dye it the most insane color you can think of, or I'll shave it, and my eyebrows. How about that? Because you're not going to get it. But if you do, that's the challenge, right? It's a framework that protects development from becoming exploitation. I'll close with this, guys. Remember, hey, I'm a man of my word. Eyebrows and everything. I'll close. So are you up to the challenge? Palacios is a place of it's a wonderful place that I've come to love, guys, very much, and I care very much. I know a lot of people, are a bit standoffish and to a newcomer, and look, trust is earned, respect is given. All that I'm asking, and at the end of the day, to most people, they'd say this. They'd say, well, what does it matter what anybody else thinks? I do. I actually care. I care what you think. I care about your input. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm discussing this. Yeah, yes, I'm very zealous. Yes, I'm very fiery. But you don't know. Well, yeah, I can't say what you don't know. I'd be very presumptive of myself. But I love this community and I love the people. We can, if we uproot this regime together collectively, and we say no more. If I had my way, I would just walk up there and say, ladies and gentlemen, hi everyone. It's been nice. We appreciate everything you haven't done, but pack your things and you got 30 minutes to leave, council included. They change council members. Let me put it as a side note. It's so funny how they change, and I see who the new good cop is now. So good luck with that. But unite together and let's tell them, hey, 2-week notice. That's what we all should do. Send them a 2-week notice. I think that's fair enough. You have 2 weeks to vacate the premises. We no longer require your services. Thank you, guys. God bless you. As always, Richard Wolf checking out. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching here on the Wolf Digital Tribe. I want to encourage you to stay tuned after this recap as I give you segments and documents provided here, and you can request them from me as well. But stay tuned for City Council meeting where the City Attorney fumbles, as always, through questions. Stay tuned.
Three documents, permanent easements. I don't know that is. Unless we reserve something, all we're letting go is, we're not letting go anything that we still own other than the abandonment of the right of way. So we can't give away anything to the Palacios Seawall Commission has. We can't give away. And on top of that, Mercer has said it doesn't affect this area. Yes, I didn't mean to talk over you. I didn't mean to talk over you.
I'm sorry. I was looking because it says C Exhibit B, and I don't have Exhibit B in here. What is Exhibit B?
Probably the class.
It's probably the map.
It is the map that shows the 40 by 280 feet.
This?
Every.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
But you never, I don't have that.
That's the appraisal.
I don't have.
I think it was in last month. Except this, I think we have it.
So what you're saying is just the road, not
Just the right to have we don't own the land. We own the right to have a road there. Which is how most of right-of-ways are. That's mainly, so it's.
I just wanted to see it on the map, I'm sorry. I'm
And
not
then,
trying to be
and then,
difficult, I just want to
no,
see
no,
it.
no, and then there's a second.
Yes, and then there's how far do we go through there that's still city property, because there's a fence there blocking,
Where
it's locked up right now. Yeah. It's right here on the side,
on eight.
yeah, going all the way to the water.
That's on 8th Street though.
Yeah,
The big
that's
sign
8th
about
Street,
stuff
so-
in it.
Right,
Does
but
it- I
I'm
think
that
if
out
you keep
too.
scrolling.
No, what I'm
That was the
yeah,
fence,
right.
right?
Okay, so that's what I'm gonna ask. So we got fences, we got
Yeah, right.
fences everywhere, and
And I'm
chains
not-
on them, brand new chains.
But I'm not, is that the area, Larry may can speak to this, that is leased?
Yeah, they lease in that area that they're trying to buy. The dock, city dock, they call it city dock. They've already
Oh,
leased that.
yes, that
They-
portion,
yeah.
but on 8th Street, isn't there something down at the bottom too?
Well, 8th Street, what they got now is 8th Street itself from Main Street to, I think their location. Y'all have the right to rebuild 8th Street, the infrastructure, and maintain it for life.
Yeah, where that was.
But the easement down, the 80-foot easement that continues down 8th Street, they don't know.
So this is what we own right here, just this little piece.
The right to maintain a road, we don't.
You own just a Dixon area, and that other piece that is already there. Yeah, that should
This
already
is
be there.
theirs.
No, we're abandoning the right to have a right of way on that portion of, they own under the road. If you think, of just like I was talking about Tucson, and why we can't close the back in one half is because Backen really owns to the middle of the
Look
road.
at it.
But we have the right to put a road on top of it. Same thing for that piece of 8th Street. ERF owns the land under it, and we have the right to maintain a road in that little square. We don't own the land underneath. ERF owns all of it already.
So technically where the fence is at, where it's chained, that's actually ours. They just haven't, they broke it out.
They own the land underneath, but we have the right to break that, put a road.
Exactly. So I'm just saying, that's still city property. Not even
When you say they own the land underneath, they own the land underneath the easement to the dock. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying anything.
I know what you just said. We own the right for a road, and they own the land underneath it.
Yeah, so on this piece of paper,